יצמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים ומלואו. ירם הים, ירם הים, ירם הים ומלואו.
The theme of tzedek, of righteousness, runs through the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat, perhaps most notably in Psalm 97, the end of which is on page 16. That's correct. Light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright. Rejoice in Adonai, you righteous people, and thank God as you pronounce the divine holy name. Or Zaru alat Tzaddik, 4 lines from the bottom.
Or Zaruba Tzaddik, V'yishrei simcha. Or Zaruba Tzaddik, V'yishrei simcha. Or Zaruba Tzaddik, V'yishrei simcha. O Yisrael simcha, O zaru ala tzaddik, O Yisrael simcha, O Yisrael simcha.
Another way we welcome Shabbat is through the Lecha Dodi. And we welcome Shabbat metaphorically as the Shabbat bride, which is partnered with the Jewish people. It is our tradition to chant the first 3 verses on page 23 and the last 2 verses on page 25. When we come to the last verse, we rise and we face the entrance to the sanctuary in symbolic welcoming of the Shabbat bride.
Lecha Dodi likrat Kala b'nei Shabbat Kabbalah. Lecha Dodi likrat Kala b'nei Shabbat Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad Yishmi'anu elam yuchad Echad u'shemo echad l'shem otziferet l'tchila Lecha Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat Kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah Lecha Dodi likrat Kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor habracha Rosh mikedem nisucha sof ma'aseh v'machshavat tila Lecha Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat Kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah Lecha Dodi likrat Kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah Midash melech ir melucha u'mitzeir mitoch ha'hapecha Rav lach shevet v'emek ha'bacha mehu yakabol alayechem Lecha Dodi b'nei Shabbat nekabelah Lecha Dodi likrat Kala b'nei Shabbat nekabelah
Yaminu small, page 25.
Yamin u'smol tifroti v'yed Adonai Itzi ayarish ben parzi v'nismecha v'nayila Lecha Dodi likrat Kala
Pene Shabbat Nikabela.
Lechadori likra haskala. Pene Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala. Gam b'simcha u'tzola. Tochemuneh am segula. Boikala, boikala. Lechadodi likrat kala. Ene Shabbat nikabela. Lechadodi likrat kala. Ene Shabbat nikabela.
Please be seated. We encounter the theme of righteousness once again toward the end of Psalm 92 on page 28. The righteous shall flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They flourish in our God's courtyards. Tzaddik Katamar.
Tzaddik Katamar Yifrach Keret Babanun Yisyashitunim Bebeit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Odeduvon Beseba Teshenim Berananim Iyu Lehagid Ki Yashar Adonai Turi Turi Velo Avlatamu.
At this time, for those of you who are comfortable putting your arms around each other, we want to invite you to do so for the singing of B'nai Matot. Judaism celebrates the individual, but it greatly celebrates when we gather together and share our strength and our fortune and our blessings and our love. So in a great show of unity, we sing. B'nai Matot
Manayim Shevet Achim B'nai Matot Manayim Shevet Achim Yachad B'nai Matot Shevet Achim Yachad B'nai Matot Shevet Achim Yachad B'nai Matot Manayim Shevet Achim Yachad B'nai Matot Manayim Shevet Achim Yachad.
Yeah, thank you. We turn to page 39A, where we find the Barchu, which is the call to prayer and the introduction of the Ma'ariv, or evening service. Please rise. Baruch Adonai Habarach Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. The blessing following the Barchu is the blessing of creation. I ask that we read together the interpretive translation called God and Nature in the left margin of page 39A. Let's read it together. Beloved are you, eternal God, by whose design the evening falls, by whose command dimensions open up, and eons pass away, and stars spin in their orbits. You set the rhythms of day and night. The alternation of light and darkness sings your creating word. In rising sun and in spreading dusk, creator of all, you are made manifest. Eternal, everlasting God, may we always be aware of your dominion for this hour of nightfall.
El Chai V'Kayam Talmidim L'Chaleinu L'Lamed Baruch Atah Adonai Amari Baravim.
The Ahavat Olam on page 40 is the second blessing after the Baruch Hu. It's the blessing of revelation, of Torah and mitzvot. For they are our life in the fullness of our days, and on them we shall meditate day and night. We sing Ki Hem Chayenu, and that will lead us directly into the chanting of the Shema and the V'ahavta on the next page.
Ki Hem Chayenu V'Yorach Hamenu U'Vahem Negeyom B'Malayla 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 Ata Sirimenu Li'olamim Baruch Atah Adonai Evamo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai B'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol yodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayu ha'levarecha v'shinanta b'ganecha v'libartam v'shivtecha v'techa v'velachtecha v'adheret v'shofecha v'kumecha v'sharta v'yotayetecha v'hayu l'totafot v'nenecha v'chtata apsuzot v'techa v'visharecha.
On page 44, we find the blessing following the Shema. It's the blessing of redemption and freedom. Twice a day, morning and evening, we recall the story of the Exodus from Egypt through the words of the Michamocha verse, which is part of the Song at the Sea that was chanted by our ancestors as they went from the slavery of Egypt to the freedom of the wilderness and ultimately the Promised Land. In 1963, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel spoke at a national conference on race and religion, where he met Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It was the beginning of a lifelong friendship and partnership. And at that conference on race and religion, Rabbi Heschel referred to the biblical story of the Exodus as the first conference on race and religion. And there at that first conference, Heschel said, the main participants were Pharaoh and Moses. The outcome of that summit meeting has not come to an end. Pharaoh is not ready to capitulate. The Exodus began, asserted Heschel, but it is far from having been completed. Page 44.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם, משה מרים בני ישראל לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם, מי כמוך אדוני, מי כמוך נעלם הקודש, נורא תהילה לספר. אחותך רוב הנפק, וקיים לפני משה את אליהו ויאמרו, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. V'n'emar, ki v'dan le'Yaakov, u'golom yed chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
The Hashkivenu on page 45 is the evening prayer for peace and divine protection. It includes the image of the Sukkot Shalom, the canopy, the Sukkah of peace. Let's read it together in translation. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
ושמור את צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מאת אבינו עולם, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, אבל סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, וירושלים.
On page 46, we join together in the Vishamru and then in the responses to the Chatzi Kaddish.
ושמרו
B'nai Yisrael, Tashabat, Lasot,
לדורות הברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל,
Tashabat,
השבת לדורות הברית עולם. ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים, את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל השבת.
לעשות את השבת
לדורות הברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו
בני ישראל השבת, לעשות השבת
לדורות הברית עולם. יקדע ויקדע שמי רבה.
אמן.
ואני ברכותי ומלכמכותי בחיי כל וביום יקון כאל כל בית ישראל. ובזמן הערים יתברך. אמן. יהי שמי רבה לברך. יאללה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתברך ויתברך וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתלש וירשע.
ברכו
כל ברכתה ושירתה.
תוש ברכתה
מתה תמירה באמן ימרו.
Adrian Rich has written, "The technology of silence, the rituals, etiquette, the blurring of terms, silence, not absence, of words or music or even raw sounds. Silence can be a plan rigorously executed, the blueprint to a life. It is a presence, it has a history of form. Do not confuse it with any kind of absence." The Amidah for the evening is done silently, pages 47 through 52. Middle of page 52, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom Yimramah, Toyasi Shalom Aleinu, V'Yavo Yisrael, V'Yimru, V'Yimru, Amen. Yasi Shalom, Yasi Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'Yavo Yisrael. 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 V'Yimru, Amen.
Please be seated. The last time I was on this bima was in June of 2011. It was on the occasion of your honoring Rabbi Greif on the eve of his receiving an honorary doctorate from the Reconstructionist Rabbinical College for 25 years in the rabbinate. The Torah portion that Shabbat was Baha'alotcha, and I gave a Devar Torah then that I want to offer again because it feels to me to be as timely and relevant on this Shabbat as it was in 2011. Undoubtedly, many of you here remember my words, so I apologize for the repetition. I was being serious. I don't know what everybody's laughing about. In Baha'alotcha, which occurs early in the book of Numbers, the Israelites are making final preparations to begin what will be their 40-year journey through the wilderness. God commands Moshe to tell Aaron, who is the high priest, to light the lights of the menorah in the Mishkan, the tabernacle. And we are told Aaron did so. He kindled the lamps as God had commanded Moshe. These words, Aaron did so, Vaya'as Kain Aharon, are an example of a phrase that might normally go unnoticed or whose importance could easily be overlooked. God commands Moshe to tell Aaron to mount the 7 lamps so that they will give light at the front of the Mishkan. And Aaron did so. Why does the Torah tell us that? What is the significance of Aaron did so? That he did as God had commanded him to do. Wasn't that a foregone conclusion? Wasn't it a given that he would do exactly that? The medieval commentator Rashi explains that the assertion that Aaron did so is to teach the praise of Aaron, that he did not deviate from God's command. But it is difficult to understand why this is praiseworthy. It doesn't seem to be a particularly complicated instruction to execute. And the fact that Aaron did as God instructed, that is praiseworthy. It would have been noteworthy if Aaron had not done so. The Sfat Emet, an important 19th century Polish commentary, suggests that the greatness of Aaron was that he did so with a continual level of excitement and zeal, despite the task at hand being rote and repetitive. His devotion to the task and his enthusiasm for doing it remain constant for the rest of his life, despite its routine nature. Lighting the menorah daily seems like a relatively simple task, but to light it day after day, week after week, year after year, and to keep it fresh, to maintain a high level of commitment, energy, and enthusiasm, this is another story, and this was no easy feat. This is what the Sfat Emet is teaching us. It would have been natural for Aaron's enthusiasm to wane in performing the same ritual act repeatedly with the passage of time. Instead, Aaron found ways to renew the experience for himself, even as he repeated the ritual. He did not allow his actions to become perfunctory and mechanical. What was true for Aaron, the Kohen Gadol, is also true for congregational rabbis. And here I'll let you in on a little trade secret. It can be a challenge to find meaning and excitement in the daily or weekly routines of ritual, of prayer, of holiday observance, of birth rituals and b'nai mitzvah and weddings, funerals and houses of mourning. It is easy for us rabbis to fall into the trap of rote observance, of the routine of leading the congregation in the same prayers, the same rituals, week after week, year after year. And indeed, for some rabbis, the enthusiasm does wane and the excitement subsides. In the language of prayer, the job can become keva, the fixed routine of ritual observance, while the kavanah, the intentionality, the fervor, the excitement can fade. Doesn't happen to everyone, but it can, and it does happen. Tonight, you honor your rabbi of 23 years, Saul Greif. For 23 years, like Aaron, Rabbi Greif did so. For 23 years, Rabbi Greif approached his job and the manifold responsibilities it required of him with enthusiasm and excitement, with kavanah, with fervor and intentionality. You saw that on the slideshow. Whether it be taking you through the cycle of holidays on the Jewish calendar or making your Shabbat experience meaningful and uplifting, or helping you and your family celebrate milestones, or helping you and your family get through the pain and grief of losing a loved one. I knew Saul long before he became a rabbi, and ever since I have known him, he wanted to be a rabbi. For him, it was a calling. And his path to the rabbinate was not straightforward, was not linear. There were challenges and obstacles that he had to overcome, yet he was determined. This was the path he envisioned for himself. He pursued this goal. He kept his eyes on the prize, and he prevailed. And as a rabbi, Saul has embodied that quality that the Sfat Emet attributes to Aaron in his understanding of, and Aaron did so. Aaron maintained a high level of commitment, energy, and enthusiasm in carrying out the duties of the high priest, whether lighting the lights of the menorah or overseeing the ritual sacrifices of the people, every day, every Shabbat, every holiday. Saul Greif has brought that same commitment to Beth Tikva B'nai Jeshurun as your rabbi, whether leading Shabbat services, officiating at life cycle events, leading a weekend Shabbaton, teaching a Hebrew school class, taking the confirmation class to New York, leading a congregational trip to Israel, or teaching Daf Yomi. And for Saul, like Aaron, it never got old. Vaya'as Cain Aharon, Aaron did so. He lit the menorah as God had instructed. His enthusiasm, his passion did not wane with the years. He kept it fresh. He found ways to renew the experience for himself and for others, even as he repeated the rituals day after day, year after year. For 23 years, you have been blessed with a rabbi who has emulated Aaron, the high priest, in his enthusiasm. So tonight we are here not only to celebrate Shabbat as we do every week, but also to celebrate Rabbi Greif. And to that end, I invite to the Bima Jody Milkman, Josh Gale, Lynn Krause, and Lisa Schwenderman.
Thank you, Rabbi. You know, I just have to take a minute. My daughter-in-law, Margot, said to me a few weeks ago, she said, you know, Rabbi Greif has been there for all of our life cycles. this is me personally, baby namings, weddings. Oh no, the wedding came first, then the baby naming. Hospital visits, multiple hospital visits, passings. Our rabbi's been there every single time for us. I was telling Ellie tonight where I was going. She saw me all dressed up, Bubby. Where are you going? I said, well, we're going to go say goodbye to Rabbi Grafe. And she said, you are? I said, yeah, Rabbi's going to go to Israel. He's going to explore some new options. And I said, do you know, Ellie, that Rabbi Grafe did your baby naming? He did? Yeah. And I said, do you know that Rabbi Grafe married Mommy and Daddy? He did? I said, yeah. And she burst into tears. This is tonight. She says, Rabbi can't go. I'll miss him. So, Rabbi, just want you to know, we know you have to move on. We know you have to see Lucy and all your daughters, but we're going to miss you. And I want you to know that we all love you very, very much. And now we have this wonderful committee here who did so much to bring this wonderful evening to you. And they have a presentation for you.
Thank you, Val. On behalf of the committee, Lisa, Lynn, and Jody, and myself, we want to thank Rabbi Schwartz for leading us tonight and helping us demonstrate our appreciation for Rabbi Grafe. I wanted to talk briefly about Rabbi Grafe's physical manifestations in our synagogue. To my left and my right are the Grafe Minaret, named in honor of Rabbi Grafe's beloved wife of blessed memory. Behind me is our ark with the Jerusalem stone that Rabbi Grafe had a great deal of involvement in picking out and selecting, and I know how much he loved this bima and being in front of us. And so Rabbi Grafe was, as the minaret our shins, the guardians of the community of Israel. Rabbi Grafe was our guardian and our light in our times of joy and our times of sorrow. And we're going to, as Val said, we're going to miss him dearly. So it was important to us to give Rabbi Grafe a physical manifestation to bring with him of our synagogue. And so without further ado, I just want to unravel this, and then the rest of the committee will come up and present Rabbi Grafe with a second gift. Do you want to come up? So in honor of an appreciation of Rabbi Saul Grafe, spiritual leader, teacher, and friend, Beth Tikva B'nai Jeshurun, 1998 to 2021, we are grateful for your service to our community. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll wait. This is gorgeous. Beautiful. Thank you, it's gorgeous.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to apologize for reading, but if I don't read, I won't be able to get through this. It's really difficult to put into words what Rabbi Saul Grafe means to all of us. For 2 decades, you have brought us closer to our families, closer to our friends, this community, and our beautiful religion. For me, and I know for so many others, you have done more than just keep Judaism alive. You have added purpose to our everyday lives by making Judaism a meaningful part of it. You have uplifted our Jewish lives with your warmth, your teaching, your music, your grace, and your sense of humor. Our lives are a collage of memories, so many happy ones. As everyone said, brisses, baby namings, preschool Torah parades, special Shabbats, holidays, shows. Who could ever forget you as Blue's Clues in the preschool Shabbat show? And of course, bar and bat mitzvahs, weddings, conversions, Shabbatons. We treasure all of these memories as we treasure you. And also some less happy memories. You've been there for us in times of need as much as you have been there for us in times of celebration. We've all been on this journey together. And when I think about my family's highs and lows, you're a part of all of them. Rabbi, I hope you know how much it's meant to us to have your voice in our lives in the moments when we really needed you. You have always been there with the right words of encouragement and support for me and all of us. Probably everybody in this room in some way, shape, or form. And what a crowd, huh? It's not even the high holidays. When tragedy struck this country, our people, your voice called out to us to help us make sense of it. We came together here around 9/11 when there was gunfire at the local high school and after the Tree of Life tragedy. We all came here to be together, to hear your words to help us process all of this. You've shared with us. You've shared with the community around us. You've worked tirelessly to encourage understanding, education, and appreciation of all religions and cultures in our community. You are a pillar of this community. Years ago, when I chaired a gala for BTBJ, and I called Flowertown Country Club to try to talk them into becoming kosher for one night so we could host a gala event for BTBJ. When Brian Halligan's tune immediately changed when I told him we were honoring you. Saul Greif, he said, anything for him. He was there for me and my family to pay his respects after a tragic loss. You have been our Sherpa, our guiding light. You exemplify the role of a Jewish spiritual leader. All of our lives could have taken many different paths, but thanks to you, they've taken a Jewish path, couched in your model of inclusion, open-mindedness, and a life of learning. Sure, I could tell stories. We all can. Like the time we met Bob Weir and the Grateful Dead together, or meeting the Pickle Man at the Hay Class trip to New York, or bidding on and winning Shabbat dinner at Rabbi Greif's house, catered by the one and only Linda. I'd be heartbroken and remiss not to mention that she is one of the most beautiful things that you brought to this congregation. Her and your wonderful families have enriched our congregation in so many ways. This transition will be hard for all of us, and I know your journey continues. I look forward to hearing your music, seeing your smile, and watching you continue to lift up everyone you meet. I hope you will carry BTBJ with you on that journey, along with all of the friends and fans you have made in this building and in this community. On behalf of your BTBJ family, I wish you and your family only the best health and happiness in the future. I hope you'll finally be able to take a minute for yourself, since you've been so focused on taking care of all of us for so many years. We as a congregation could think of no better way to show you our appreciation than to give you two of your favorite things, your family and Israel. So I hope you'll accept this gift of gratitude and allow us to help you travel to Israel to meet and hug your granddaughter. Sincerest thank you for your many dedicated years of service to this congregation and this community. We love you, and you will always have a place in our hearts and in this community.
To Val and the committee and everybody who had a role in tonight, I can't thank you adequately in words. This has been beyond touching and meaningful, and thank you, and to everyone, to each and every one of you. Great to see you. I'm going to treasure this a whole lot, and just simply beautiful. So, Valerie asked me to say a few words. Yeah, no, it's not going to be too long. No, no. It's not a synopsis of my next 5-year high holiday sermons, not at all. And I don't think I've said, where is she? Was she just there? I don't think I've said no to her in 23 and a half years. So I wasn't going to start tonight. So here it goes. Shalom, everybody. You all know the word shalom means a lot of things. It means hello and goodbye and peace, and that's very appropriate for tonight. I just called this shalom. I didn't need a title, but it just came out that way, and it seems very appropriate after the fact. August 1998, I remember very clearly when I drove up here for a meeting, I think one evening, and then a Shabbos soon after. When I began as rabbi of BTBJ with my wife Linda, of blessed memory, Zichronah Livracha, and 3 daughters, with that time were aged 11, 9, and 7. They're a little older now. Who knew that I would be here for the next 23 and a half years, share over 100 high holiday sermons with you throughout those years, countless simchas and sorrows, make many new friends, have the most amazing times, as well go through the hardest times together with all of us with our losses. And who knew that I would leave? I've been thinking about this a lot in recent years because you never know where life is going to go. But who knew that I would leave here as a widower without Linda? As a father-in-law, having seen one daughter get married. And I wouldn't be surprised if she's followed up soon. She's got 2 sisters who are moving down that road. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but I'm watching it, you know. And also a very proud Zadie to 6-month and 2-day-old Lucy, who is my gorgeous granddaughter born in Israel. I'm going to ad-lib very little, and this won't be long, I promise. But now is a great time for me to tell Carrie and Larry Walensky 2 things. 2 of my dearest friends. The whole row is full of my family and my friends, and I'll get to everybody one way or another. But Carrie and Larry, I hope to go to Israel on December 19th. We're still waiting for the borders to kind of open. Carrie and Larry, why am I going right away? Because their daughter Miriam's getting married the next day, like on the 24th. And I want to be there so badly because they came to Israel when Alana got married. And that's not the only reason. So I think you guys are well on your way to getting permission to going. Am I right? Good. And I'm working on it, and hopefully I'll be there. But also, one of the treasured nights we had here was, Carrie might remember how long ago it was. I lose track of time. Carrie's the most beautiful artist. She's the head of art at Camp Ramah. She works with Leanne Kaganowski every summer, right? Oh, Leanne's now the head. Now you're second. Okay. But all summer, her great stories. We invited Carrie a few years ago to teach us calligraphy because Hebrew is the holy language and the shapes and meaning of its letters are intensely significant. And Carrie taught a whole room right back there how to write, and it was a great night, and people still remember, and she made a ketubah for Alana's wedding. So that's for you guys. Mazel tov on the upcoming wedding. Will you give them a big mazel tov? It's a wedding. First and last, I want to thank everyone here tonight and in the congregation for all you've done to bless and enrich my life and the life of BTBJ for well over 2 decades. That's really the first word and the last word. If time allowed, I would mention each and every one of you. I have memories with each and every one of you. We have certainly great ones. We have so many sorrowful ones with so many of us, but that's life. The ups and the downs, the days and the nights, the deaths, the funerals. but we've had so many simchas that have made it so worthwhile, and the tough times we made as meaningful and as doable as possible. So I don't have time to do that, but I hope you all know that I'm referring to each and every one of you. And we've talked a lot, and just know that I treasure it all. Some of the crowning memories, how do you summarize 23 years, in a couple of minutes? I take with me are the numerous congregational trips we took to Israel, resulting in lifetime memories that we gained that speak to the most amazing experiences we enjoyed throughout Israel, the land of our ancestors, and the Jewish people today. Thanks to all of you who trusted Linda, my girls, and I to lead you there with the amazing leadership of Israel experts and Joe Perloff. And a lot of you remember Joe, we had great times together. So one memory, again, here's an ad lib. One memory that has to come to mind, I'm looking right at them. Beth and Kenny Gordon, dear longtime congregants and friends. We were in Israel together. Were you guys on the same trip? We were in Israel together. It was Erev Shabbos. We were in Jerusalem. We went to this famous place that not everybody knows about, but if you know about, it's cool. It's like a courtyard. It might be private property. I don't know. We go all the time. We take the groups because you stand up high and you look at the whole Kotel. The Western Wall, Friday night, Shabbos, the whole thing. Midwinter week when all the American groups there recognizes each other. So Lindsay was standing right next to me. How old should she have been then? 10, 11? Yeah. Lindsay was standing next to me watching the scene. Women, men, ruach, dancing, screaming, shouting, running, yelling, crazy. And she turns to me. She goes, Rabbi, 11-year-old, first time. She goes, Rabbi, this is like the Jewish version of the Super Bowl. From the mouths of babes. And I knew right away she got it. And I remember turning to her and saying, yeah, but we do it 52 weeks a year. How's that for a memory from Israel? For everybody who went to Israel with us, we had the best time. And there's even talk about more people wanting to go soon. We'll see what happens. I treasure the night I played ice hockey at the Spectrum. There was a picture of it up there. I played ice hockey for several years here until Gabby became a bat mitzvah, and I got so overwhelmingly busy, I stopped. I couldn't do it anymore. But we had some great achievements. There were over 80 people from BTBJ in attendance. It was right after what was the minor league team called? Right after the Phantoms game. And 80 of you were there with signs, and it was such a great night. I sat on the same bench that Bobby Clark sat on. For all of you have a few years, all the kids are going, who? For all of you have a few years, Bobby Clark was God in this town. We idolized him growing up, and I really appreciated that I had that experience, and I appreciated that you were all there. Speaking of stadiums, my band and I, where is he? Where's Jordan? Jordy, where? Jordy's one of the best piano players I've ever met in my life. Jordy was the first piano player I worked with. We're hoping to do more stuff. He has been there by my side every time I asked him. And 3 times we went to the Wells Fargo Center to play on Jewish Heritage Night. Those of you guys who have been there, that's right, Stevie, told us all about it. They had t-shirts in Hebrew, Jewish Heritage Night. So Jordy was there every time, and we had a few other mixed in people, guitar, drums, whatever we had. So we played one night, and then someone was talking, they go, Jewish Heritage Night, I heard you played. I said, yeah, it was fun, we did a great thing. So it just came to me. I don't know where it came from, but I got so much mileage out of that. I went, yeah, and Jody talked about Bob Weir, the Grateful Dead. Thanks to Jody, I met all my rock stars. Where's she? Bob Weir, right? Steve Winwood, it's thanks to you and others. Jody's in the music business. She made it happen. Sam, too. And I said to people, I said, yeah, I was at the Dead the other night. They were here on Thursday. And this was after Jerry died. This was like Dead and Company or whatever they were called at that time. The other ones further. And I said, we played Monday. I said, yeah, Bobby Weir, the Grateful Dead. We both played the Wells Fargo Center last week. They had like 20,000 people to come to see me, and they had nobody to come to see me. I was entertaining during halftime, but it was a great story. I'm so proud that I made my first musical CD in my years here, for those who've been here around for a little while. It's called Tales from the First Book. And I played it several times with you at the Shabbaton. We had a concert here with the whole band. I played it solo. We traveled around the country for a little while. There was nothing like combining Torah and music and Judaism and the Grateful Dead. One of my future projects that I hope to start soon is to write one of maybe a few books on Judaism and the Dead, because what's really cool is that a lot of Jews come out and get interested when they want to know, what's this like Judaism and the Grateful Dead thing? They're not really asking about Judaism. They like the dead. But we put it together and it really works. And it's really cool because there's nothing like celebrating things. And think about the things in your life that don't seem to make sense on paper, but they work for you. So it really worked really well. I'm working on my second CD. I'm really excited about the second one, and I hope live to see it done. I'm so proud someone alluded to so many trips to New York City. I think my dear friend Mike did. We took hate classes year after year. Who here went with me to New York? Look at all the hands. Hate classes, confirmation trips, men's club trips. Holy cow. And we all had the best time. We saw New York, we saw Judaism, we saw restaurants and museums, and it was quite an education. There's nothing like getting beyond the doors, the walls of the shul, you know? And we went out there, we had a great time. The men's club loved it. When do we go to New York? Got to buy horseradish, pickles for Pesach. This is Jewish life. This is what's important. It's not just what's in a book, it's what's out there. And we had great trips to New York. I was so sad when we had one play and a pandemic closed it down. There's a few people I have to mention by name. And again, I would mention all of you. Please know that. If you feel hurt, call me, let me know. I'll apologize and we'll work it out. But I hope you won't. I think you'll hopefully understand. The first person I have to thank out of a short handful, and I'm looking for him, and he shouldn't be hard to find because he's not short. Where's Bert Ames? Who was here? Bert, is he here? He was here. I don't know, maybe they left. Bert Abrams, when I came here, Bert was very instrumental in bringing me here. I remember our opening conversation. It was really kind of funny, so maybe I'll tell you this real quickly. I was talking to Bert, and Linda was, no, but you'll like the story because I had to do with Linda. And Linda was Linda. Linda was standing next to me listening. I'm talking to Bert. Actually, Stevie introduced me to the whole thing, my brother-in-law. He said, there's a shul open in Philly. You interested? I said, yeah, we're like moving it. You know, we're moving. Yeah, maybe we'll go back to home, see everybody. Bert's talking, Linda's there. Go. All of a sudden I went, what? She goes, what's the matter? I went, 7 o'clock? Yeah. She's telling me morning meeting was to 7. I grew up at a shul, very traditional, that started at 7:20 and 7:30, and that was early. And it wasn't every day. It was like twice a week, but I don't know what to do with that. Linda caught wind of it. She was like, say yes. Don't tell this guy you're not going to Minyan. You won't get the job. So I went, yeah. And the rest is history. Really, she was so afraid I was going to blow it that one time. Bert's been the head gabbai. I've never come to the shul when the Torahs weren't ready to read. If they had to be rolled, 1 book, 5 books, whatever, he had them ready. They were there in order. You all know him from the Bima, the best. The second person is Aaron Sewell. I'll bet Aaron's here. There he is. Aaron has capably served as ritual chair, working tirelessly year after year to organize the Aliyot for the high holidays. How many years did Aaron call me like July 8th and go, I can't get someone to open the Ark for Aliyot on stage? I'm like, Aaron, it's July 8th. The last thing people are worrying about is Aleinu in September. They're on the beach. We'll get there. And I tried to ease him, but Aaron was so dedicated. He just wanted to make sure we were covered. And you always did it one way or another. And it changed greatly with pandemic. One year we had 5 people in the room. We worked it out. It all went great. But that was because of all the time that you and the committee worked on that. Aaron also sparked our current study of Daf Yomi, which is a page of Talmud a day, 2,711 pages, takes about 7.5 years. We were just beginning it, and I knew about the enterprise, but I never thought about studying it. It just wasn't on my horizon. And Aaron said, can we check it out? And the rest has been history. How much do we do already, Aaron? 25%. We've been studying since January 5th, 2020. And this class very much wants to stay together with me, and we're working on it. And if I go to Israel, B'li Neder, I hope to take my laptop to the Kotel, and we'll study with the Kotel on the screen. Aaron couldn't have done any of this without you and Bert and the whole ritual committee, so thank you. Another name, only a couple left. A couple years ago, there was a bad snowstorm. I wasn't driving at the time, I don't think. The electricity went out. I lived about a block and a half away, and didn't know how long it was out for a while. All of a sudden, there was a knock on the door. It's like, who's at the door? I can't even walk outside. It was neighbor, congregant, and dear friend. Where's Michael Searman? I'm sure he's here, right there. Michael knocked. He might have called me first. I don't remember. He said, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right. I don't have power, but I'm all right." He said, "You have a light?" I didn't have an electric light. Next thing I know, he comes to that snow with my phone was dead, with a battery, and with a light and something else, and he got me through it. And I've never forgotten that. Because I would have made it through, but not nearly as well without the help that you brought in a time when I was all alone. So thank you. And for all you're doing for the men's club, and for all you do for everybody. This guy's going to be really surprised. Where's Mario Zacharias? Mario made the list. But you're all on the list. I told you that. Soon after we came here, Linda and I became real good friends with Beth and Kenny, like right away. I don't know how, but we did. And then I remember talking to Kenny about doing something. He goes, "Can my friend Mario come with?" I said, "Sure." And we became best of friends to this day. We just saw the conversion of your son-in-law, the marriage of your kids, all simchas, amazing. Mario, when was our trip to Cuba? Yeah. Really, I was going to say the opposite. It feels like it was years ago. But Mario got together a bunch of guys from the men's club to go to Cuba at a time when no one could go. But the whole reason we got permission through Mario's hard diligence was that we were going to represent a mission. We were taking sports equipment and dental equipment for the communities of Havana and the Jews and others. And so we got dispensation. We went there for about a week. We had the trip for our lives. Steve came with us. He invited Steve too. We had the best time. And because of Mario, I have on my resume that for 1 week, I was the chief rabbi of Cuba. El Gran Rabbino. They gave me a signed certificate afterwards. I treasure it to this day. We go to yeah, well, I could talk all day. I'll tell one story. And if you want to tell another, you can. But we get to shul. Yeah, I'm not talking about the mechitza. I'm not going near there. But we get to shul, and I'm sitting there. I was like dressed like just one of the guys. I wasn't wearing, I was wearing like a sweatsuit or something. All of a sudden, the word gets around this rabbi. They don't have rabbis there at that time. So when a rabbi came and visited, it was like a real rare occurrence. They were all excited. They heard it was there, and I'm sitting there like whatever, you know. All of a sudden, Mark comes up and he goes, "They want you to read Torah." I went, "You know what? I'm on vacation. I'm not really ready." There was no saying no to this group. Not only did they want me to read Torah, they wanted me to read the entire parsha, which was lengthy. I don't remember the date, but it was in Exodus. That I remember. And they said, "You're on." I said, "I'll read a third." Nah. We're real Jews here. We don't know about you guys. And they said, "We're reading Torah in 12 minutes. Now, I could read Torah a little bit, but to prepare a whole parsha sight unseen in 12 minutes, I had my marching orders. I said, "Saul, make sure you get the words right, the psukim right, the trup you'll work on, we'll see." And I read a whole parsha that day, and they were so happy to see a rabbi come and visit them and read, and that was thanks to you. So thanks for all you did for the Jews of Cuba and me and all of us. I want to thank the office and maintenance staffs throughout the years. And a very special thank you to Kathy Gordon. Kathy, I think, has been my sister for like 22 years, and she's been amazing. Thank you to all of you who provided rides for me during the recent year and a half when my health wouldn't let me ride, but now I'm driving again. And I really want to thank you all. You gave so much to help me through. I want to thank my dear friend and colleague, Rabbi Mike Swartz, for leading such a beautiful Shabbat evening tonight, along with Cantor Benjamin Greenfield, my Bema partner for the High Holidays and B'nai Mitzvah. Thank you to you both for everything, and thank you to you both for a lovely evening tonight. I want to thank all the teachers, from the day care people through the preschool, elementary school, to our teens and adult teachers. Everyone who brings the riches of Torah, education, good values, and love is greatly to be praised. We're raising future generations of Jews. So yashkach to you all. I want to thank the many adults who spent time studying Torah and Judaism with me for 23 years. It is said that if you want to assess the success of a synagogue, see how many people are studying Torah. That'll tell you what's going on in the halls and integrating its values into their lives. I'm beyond proud of everyone who ever studied with us for 5 minutes, or some of you for 23 years. I'm proud to say that our Daf Yomi class is still meeting, and we hope to continue to do that. I want to thank the front row. It's still my family and friends. I'm not going to mention you all by name, but I think everyone knows you for many years, and I'm so honored that you're here tonight. But I do want to recognize my dad, Manny Greif, right over here. Give my dad a thank you. My dad was highly instrumental, along with others, in helping me pursue the rabbinate, and I know he's been very proud of my accomplishments. And Dad, this is for us, this is for you, and we'll look forward to new joys and successes. I love you very much. So I think that's it. Oh, wait a minute. You watching this? Am I forgetting somebody? Who could that be? It's the woman who ducked her head as soon as I said, who could that be? 23 and a half years ago, I found the sister I never had. Since then, I've got new sisters. My sister-in-law is Robin. It's right here. And Kathy is right here. And Brandy and all of you. But Valerie became like a sister on day one. I didn't know who she was, and already she was going way over the top on caring about me. And I'm kind of like, isn't she the preschool director? Why is she talking to me like my aunt, my mother, my sister? I didn't get it. And someone told me soon after, she's also the executive director. I went, oh, that makes a little more sense, but still. And that never stopped. We had so much in common. We both wanted to do all we could for BTBJ. The path of life found us both becoming serious caregivers to spouses who battled crippling disease and eventually died. But Val never let anything stand between her and her commitment to BTBJ. You'd never know how sick Bill was. Never know. She took care of him and took care of all of us all the time. She always found time to take care of everybody with that sensitive touch and everybody with her beautiful caring. I wish I had a shekel for every time I heard Valerie say to someone who said, you know what, I got a problem here. Val went, we don't have a problem. We have a situation that we just have to fix. It worked. It worked for years. It diffused everybody because everybody listened to you and you fixed everybody. So thank you for that. Val, you have been the heartbeat of the shul. I wish you all the best and know that I will always be here for you. On my bucket list is making sure Valerie gets to Israel one of these days. We tried so hard for so many years. She said, I can't leave Bill. Yeah, no, she hasn't been there. She said, I can't leave Bill. I said, yeah, you can. It's 10 days. You got 2 sons. We got caretakers. We had people coming out of the woodwork to help that happen because I told them I want to take her on the next trip. And Val said, I can't leave Bill. And she just wouldn't leave Bill. But since he passed, I think she's been ready to go. So that's on the list. I want to send out a biggest message of love and thanks to my 3 daughters and their spouses and partners. You saw their picture. Gabby and Celeste, Alana and Ophir, Sharon and Aaron. Though Linda's passing has been so hard on us all, They've continued to live life and pursue their dreams with the same strength and love that Linda did. And for all of you that knew Linda, and it's most of you, that's the way the girls are. Alana is the mother of Lucy, my first grandchild. I hope to fly to Israel in a week, meet her for the first time. Kids, I want you to know, your Ema and I are beyond proud of you. So keep on trucking on. Use another Grateful Dead metaphor. Whoever thought I'd come to a Friday night evening service with tie-dyed masks? Unbelievable. And I look forward to sharing so much with my girls and being there for them as the years unfold. Speaking of Ema, which is Hebrew for mother, a lot of you know, I want to say what goes without saying. I'm so sorry that Linda's not with us tonight. So many of you knew her and loved her. We have neighbors that are with us, Sam and Marcy, others. We saw each other all the time, and Linda was always there. She's been gone for over 5 years now. It's amazing how time flies. But her righteous spirit will forever live on within our family and with all the people she touched so greatly. And at the day school, she touched so many people. She wanted everybody to go to the Jewish day school so she could mother them. Really, she did. She would say, I got a new student. She'd tell me it was. I said, Linda, I said, I'm not prejudiced or anything, but they're not Jewish. She said, I don't care. They need a good school. I want to take care of them. Okay, bring them in. And she would find scholarship money for people who had none. And she did it year after year. And people still come up to you and say, your wife got us into the school. She loved this congregation. She loved being a Rebbitzin. Anybody who crossed paths with her know what I'm talking about. I may have been the rabbi, but Linda was the power behind this all. She was the treasure and the light, and she provided the greatest sense of spirit and joy to our shul. One anecdote is it was Rosh Hashanah. I was giving my sermon right from here. And everyone's sitting listening. All of a sudden, there's like a stir. People turning around. I feel like I'm losing everybody. At that time, Linda was sick. She came in. She had a cane, if you remember those days. And she was walking hard, but she wasn't going to not be here. As soon as Linda hit the room, like she wanted to say gajunta to everybody, and everybody wanted to see her. So everybody from the back like stood up. People went over and over. I'm like talking to nobody. I had to stop. Like it was ridiculous. And I think I made like a playful little joke out of it. Excuse me, young lady, I'm talking. But she didn't care. And I got the greatest joy watching Linda interact with the people in our world, our kids, and all of you. It was amazing. And it's funny because Mike and I are big Rodney Dangerfield fans. So I don't want to forget this line's for you. Are you kidding? Linda walked in, Mike. I went, I get no respect. It was a great joy. As was said before, the menorot. Also, the Rosenstein hanging is dedicated to 3 people. Jay Harris of beloved memory. City was here. Beloved memory. And also Judy Gallup, the 3 of them. We dedicated it to them. And the menorot will always remind you of the light of their lives. In conclusion, again, as I said, if I could go on, I would thank each and every one of you by name. I have memories with each and every one of you. I really do. And I treasure them. I want to thank you for a wonderful run. It's been a joy sharing life, friendship, and Judaism with you. I wish you all the best in the future. I'll enjoy seeing if our paths cross again, because you never know what happens in life. If I can be of service to you, I will. Life is filled with doors that close and open. Close and open, as we say. It's a metaphor we use for the holidays. A comedian recently said, I laughed my head off. He said, if your life is one in which you're walking through a series of doors where one closes, one opens, one closes, one opens, you're probably in jail. I thought that was pretty funny. They say that don't be sorry it's over, be glad it happened. That could be really challenging. It really can. But it's a reality, and it's a good thing to try to treasure. So I will treasure all this and more for well over 2 decades. Thank you all. Love you all. Best of luck, and God bless. So as long as you're up, turn to page 55. My prediction is that the conservative movement will soon print a whole new Siddur. Again, do you know why? The moment I learn the page numbers, they switch. I know Kiddush is on 55. It won't be for long. A Kiddush cup is a celebration of joy in Shabbat. Let's celebrate together. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, yava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron u'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom tehillah mikrai kodesh. Zecher l'tziyat Mitzrayim, Kivanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodecha, v'yava uvratzon hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Ashabat. To us all, l'chaim, l'chaim, everybody. Elena's coming in 15 seconds. Danny Heckelman, one of my best friends forever, and Mike too from so many years ago, I can't count, drove up from Washington today to be here. That's love and commitment. Danny, we go way back. We're going to go way forward, God be willing. I single you out too amongst everybody. It's because you guys have an upcoming marriage. Danny's eldest just got married about a month or so ago. Andrew and I took the ride up northern Jersey. I went for the wedding. Andrew went to make sure that I wouldn't crash my car again. So thank you for that. But she kept an eye on I and an eye on me, and muzzle tov to Danny on the recent wedding.
Thank you. Let's remain standing for Aleinu on the next page.
Aleinu l'shtabeach l'adon ha'kol, ha'tein gidulah liyotzeh ritzim, shelo asanu higoyeh ha'ratzot, ve'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adamah, ve'lo tzamchakenu kahem, ve'gor aleinu ke'ho'adam.
Anachnu korim, mishtachavim u'modim.
Malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Be'etzar, Adonai, Melech ha'aretz, Vayom ha'hu, Yeh Adonai echad,
U'shemo.
U'shemo echad.
Please be seated. As we turn to page 58, in solemn testimony to that unbroken faith which links the Jewish generations one into the other, we invite those in a period of mourning or observing a yard site to now rise and join in the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach chirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, ba'gala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mevorach li'olam le'omayah. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, ta'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekusha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Are there any announcements? I don't know how this works here. We have Kiddush. Tomorrow, Shabbat service is at 10 o'clock. And Saul, I want to thank you for those beautiful words and also thank you for keeping it short. As you promised you would. So I want to invite Cantor Phil up to the bima. It's Cantor Benjamin's dad. And he was Saul's cantor down in Greenbelt, Maryland. So they kept it in the family.
Good Shabbat, everybody. I know that you're all hungry for words from somebody that you don't even know, so I will keep it brief. This is in testimony to the fact that Saul's tenure as a rabbi did not begin here at BTBJ. We shared 12 years together down in Greenbelt, Maryland. And on this occasion, in the aftermath of Hanukkah, I wanted to comment briefly on some of the gifts that Saul has sent my way over the years prior to the Greif era here at BTBJ. Saul, we shared a gift of collegiality for 12 years on the bima and for some 35 years off. In that time, there hasn't been a quarrel either of us can remember. There are peals of laughter from those days still echoing at 10 Ridge Road in Greenbelt and in my heart. Your support for us when we decided to spend a year away on a teaching exchange to England enabled me to come back to Mishkan Torah when we returned. Jokes about the antipathy shared by rabbis and cantors are legion, but let history record that however occasionally there are denizens of the bima who actually like each other. You also extended the gift of professional comfort, if you will. We shared years 6 to 18 of my now 41-year tenure at Mishkan Torah. During that time, I came of age at the synagogue, and the connections we made helped the congregation come to know me on a deeper and more personal level. Drawing off our legacy of ease and mutual goodwill, I was able to help smooth the path for your successor, a fine rabbi and a wonderful guy who would serve the congregation very, very well for 20 years, but one who experienced a somewhat bumpier transition to Greenbelt than you did in your day. You were a generous colleague to him then, even though you didn't work with him directly. The ripples expanded outward. With you came the gift of family. The association you and I shared wasn't all there was to it. With you came Linda of blessed memory, who bore the absolutely most appropriate middle name ever awarded in the history of the world. She was indeed Linda Joy. We also came to know your girls and both of your extended families. You shared them generously, not only with me, but with Carolyn, Joanne, and Benjamin. Our holidays and our emotional scrapbooks were never the same again. With the gift of family, of course, came the gift of memories. It's been decades since you left, but those memories remain a blessing to this day. I know our daughter Joanne remembers these days with great fondness, even though she was a little bit more partial to the four-legged species than she was to the two-legged species at the time. Your family meant a great deal to her. In fact, Stephen, Linda's brother, Steve Katz, was a special favorite of Joanne. She remembers you with great fondness. As I think your current cantor has told this congregation before, his childhood memories of you on and off the bima became some of the formative building blocks of his Jewish life. As parents, we hold a special place for those who reach out to befriend and uplift our children, and you, Linda, and your entire family have done that for our own kids, and we are appreciative. Finally, and perhaps in a way most importantly, there was the behavior you modeled in speaking to others in a kind and outgoing manner. There is a bit of backstory here, so please bear with me. I taught public school for 35 years in Anne Arundel County, Maryland, down south of Baltimore and east of Washington. I taught at Annapolis High School for most of that time. It's a wonderful school, but it was not the most easy of placements, shall we say. A walk down any hall in that school, you would see Yale, you would see jail, often coming at you in the same direction. As we used to joke back in the day, I would come into Shul and say, hey, I had a great week at Annapolis. He said, oh yeah, what happened? I said, I went to a fight and a class broke out. You know, it was that kind of a place to work. I loved every minute of it. In my earliest days in my department, I have to say, in all honesty, that I was hanging out with the wrong professional crowd. A coterie of male colleagues who, shall we say, were not exactly egalitarian in outlook, and for whom cynicism, ridicule, and snotty put-downs of students and colleagues alike were a means of coping with difficult situations. But that's not how you and Linda talk to people, and the outgoing, friendly nature of your discourse changed my mindset for engaging with others. It is no coincidence that it was the late 1980s and early 90s when my career in the classroom and in the halls of Annapolis High School really blossomed, and I honestly have you and your family to thank for some of all that. Truly, in my life and in the life of so many people, you have been a force for good. And if you will allow Benjamin and I and Benjamin's mom, Carolyn Sonnen, who is the real musician of the family, on that closing note, we would like to extend a musical tribute to you.
This is from the musical Wicked by the great Tzaddik Stephen Schwartz.
And that's with a short.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes a sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
It may well be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you,
because I knew you, I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for. But then I guess we know there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a ship born from its mooring, by a wind off the sea. Like a stream that beats a bird in the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. And because I knew you, because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I believe there's an oneg outside.